Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar today. BayWa is excited to partner with SPAN on this webinar. And I'm Aaron Bingham. I'm the product manager here with BayWa. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our panelists for this webinar. We've got Mark Abrams, he's a VP of sales over at SPAN, and Greg Johnson, who is the head of marketing over at SPAN. Mark and Greg, please take it away.
Let me share my screen really quickly. Super excited to be here and tell you guys about how SPAN and solar go really well together and how you can reach customers using SPAN products. Fantastic. So just a little overview of the agenda today. We're going to talk a little bit about the company so you can kind of get to know how we started, what our mission is, the products that we're developing, and looking forward, what can you expect from SPAN? I think that's really important. Next, we'll go into the market opportunity, just looking at customer segments, how this product kind of fits and how you can overall offer that to your customers. We'll get into the nitty gritty with all the product details and tech specs, and other things that you should be aware of from features and functionalities, as well as the performance that it brings. Lastly, second to last, we'll talk about how SPAN can help you improve your sales. And then we'll give a forward look at new products coming down the pike. We've got some exciting stuff happening in August, and we'll tell you about that. Great. So what is SPAN and what do we do? Quite simply, we reinvented the 100-year-old electrical panel. Our company started by founders and CEO Rao. He was head of energy products at Tesla, responsible for the rollout of the Tesla Powerwall, the Mega Pack, Power Pack utility grade storage. One of the things that he saw in his 5+ years working at Tesla Energy was that the bottleneck is actually the electrical panel. And that was something that Tesla wasn't on a mission to solve. And he just saw it as this looming problem that really needed to be innovated, updated, and scaled out, because as we're going into this next decade, electrification is happening. More and more solar and storage are coming online. But again, that bottleneck is the electrical panel. So SPAN created this all new electrical panel that has intelligence built into the product. There's a full onboard computer tied into the main bus bar. Every circuit is actually traditional circuit breakers available with all the major breaker brands, but on the back end is actually where the magic happens. There are relays as well as circuit level intelligence on all 32 circuits on the actual product, as well as there's also a communication capability so that we can interface through an app. So that's why our product is so revolutionary. We've now, been live with this product for over 2 years now, installed in over 40 states, available in all 50 states, and we've been installed in thousands of homeowners' homes. It is a purely residential product. Great. So to give you an overview, I'm going to play this 2-minute video. I think that it really just summarizes what you can expect from SPAN, both from the product perspective as well as what that customer experience looks like and the features and functionalities baked into it. So it's about a 2-minute video. I'll play this. So hopefully that was a really good overview of our product. I'm not going to play that again. I'm just going to go to the next slide. As you can see, everything's powered through the app, right? So Span as a company is an integrated hardware and software company where we design, engineer all the power mechanics and hardware features into the app, but we also do all the software development to bring those features to life and give homeowners that power of control straight from their phone. So I mentioned a little bit about kind of the founding of our company by Arch Rao, but really we're comprised of an entire team, over 160 employees now that have been, veterans of the solar industry, renewables, et cetera. So our team, founding team, a lot of people came from Tesla Energy, but we also have people from Enphase. We also have a lot of people from Sunrun, and we've kind of aggregated all of their experience in our whole go-to-market strategy, as well as the future products that we're developing. We recently raised our Series B just a few months ago at for 90 million in additional funds there. So we're really excited that that's given us significant runway to continue expanding and building our product portfolio. We've got a lot of great investors who are right alongside of us. Fifth Wall, they've been really great partners. They co-led our Series B with Wellington Management. So a lot of real estate ties and things like that as we're looking to expand our segments, but also tied into the Alexa Fund. And we actually have Alexa integrated into our product, especially because that relationship is so valuable to us. From adopters, we've recently brought on board Sunrun, as you guys know, the nation's largest solar provider in the US. And we're starting to scale that relationship. And I think that that's really important because Sunrun had enough faith in us to be one of their key suppliers. And we're starting to see really strong results from how they're going to market and pairing our product into a lot of their offerings. We recently did a campaign, an advertising campaign actually with Kai Lenny. He's a famous surfer, one of the most famous surfers in the world. And he uses Span actually to power his home in Hawaii, which you all know Hawaii has its own challenges with energy generation as well as storage. Jonathan Scott is also a friend of our company from the Property Brothers, a big advocate on our behalf. And he recently installed us into his home with he and his wife. And as well, we've won a lot of industry awards from the International Builders Show, Best Energy Efficient Product, Best Home Technology Product, Fast Company, and other things. So definitely a lot of people have taken notice to what we're building here, and we're really proud to share that with the world. So why offer Span? There's kind of really like three core things that we think that we can offer for you and your end customers. One is you can increase revenue and profit, right? So it's another product, but you can sell that to the same customer, and it really allows a lot of leeway for them to continue to add products into their home, right? We see ourselves as really this power router for the entire home, and given our architecture, it's extremely flexible and capable for that customer to add more and more electrification appliances like an HVAC heat pump, an induction cooktop, and more to their home without actually having to do any more upgrades to their electrical panel. We've really created something that's flexible to be that springboard into other decisions. You can close a higher percentage of deals. We see that customers are generally truly excited about this, and that actually impacts the deal close rate that salespeople have with their customers. And one that we probably weren't expecting, but we've seen a lot of progress on is reducing cancellations, because customers in a lot of ways do have problems with their electrical panel. By selling this, you're addressing that earlier rather than later. And they're really excited about this whole experience. And a byproduct of them adding Span to their systems is cancellations have gone down dramatically with some of our partners, and we're really excited to see that for them. And then you can sell more batteries. One of our core value propositions is that Span makes better resilience, giving you that circuit level control to toggle on and off different circuits. And we make a battery last 40% longer. So customers are starting to get in that mindset about how do I actually create better resilience? One battery can become 1.5, two batteries can become 3, and so forth. And they start actually thinking about scaling up because it gives them a lot more capability for unexpected outages. And then lastly, setting up future sales again, because we are that product that's going to be the heart of their home energy system, really gives you a full platform to continue developing a relationship with that customer over the long term and building towards customer lifetime value. You can differentiate the offer. This will make your pitch stand out. It is a unique solution in the market. And again, because what we've created both from a hardware side, a software side, and even from industrial design, it truly makes your pitch stand out. And we've seen that resonate a lot in the market. You can beat the competition with the latest technology. this is everything that, is the latest in the market with what we're doing. And we're continuing to upgrade our technology through over-the-air software updates. So it only gets better with time. And then lastly, as you know, when you're offering battery backup, one of the biggest friction points in that customer experience is, it's the notion of whole home battery backup. But when you start to get to, the sub panel and critical loads panel, it becomes not entirely what they thought it would be at the onset. So this eliminates that entirely of which backup circuits would you like, which, 4 to 12 circuits do you want to have when your home experiences a power outage. No longer is that the case. You can back up every single circuit in our panel. And then also you can change priorities actually just by a simple tap in the app. And then lastly is excite your customer. This is a very attractive smart panel appliance that's intuitive with the state-of-the-art app. It looks great on the exterior of a home. It's built outdoor rated up to 122 Fahrenheit for outdoor situations, but then also sometimes home, electrical panels are located in the kitchen. They're located in attics, sometimes in a hallway, and this just looks really sharp in a customer's home. You can get more referrals. The app gives a customer another reason to check on their solar and storage. And they're sharing this word of mouth with a lot of their friends and family. And lastly, improve your online reviews. Again, because that customer experience becomes a superior experience. They're going to brag about the installation that they had with you or the sales that they had with you. And they're going to be able to tell that to other people. And then lastly, who are your target customers? When you look at solar and storage, it's probably not, the smaller system sizes where the customer is just looking at saving a few bucks on their monthly energy bill. It is really someone who's looking for a better, more holistic solar and storage system, and we can add to that. It simplifies that backup loads discussion entirely, and we provide that whole home level monitoring at the circuit level, and they get that feedback in real time through the app. But then there's also this notion of that they can have set it and forget it. So the automatic priorities that they program can be done at installation, but it can also be updated on the fly through anyone actually who's the homeowner using that app. And then also we can make more electrification upgrades happen without needing for things like a potential service upgrade or anything else because of how our technology is structured. So think about when they're adding an EV or significant additional loads, they can do that without any kind of concern. Then you think about the customer that does need a main panel upgrade where maybe they didn't consider it at the front end, but now there's the site survey, the truck roll, and main panel upgrade. You can do everything, do it right from the get-go. So you can modernize that home energy infrastructure. It gets that home entirely ready for anything, whether that's battery, EV later, it's really future-proofing the home. And they're able, whether it's the homeowner or your business, adding additional value to the home. And lastly, we see a lot of technology enthusiasts. So people that want the latest and greatest, they're eager to try new things, but they also want to make sure what they try is worth its weight. And that's absolutely what we're seeing. And we've seen that either with both our creator relationships as well as just customers where, they're really enthusiastic about this and they want SPAN in their house. So you can have this smart home, get all these energy insights, and then also get that control right from the palm of their hand. With that, I will turn it over to Mark to take us through a deep dive of the product as well as how you might be able to sell it to your customers. I'm going to stop sharing, Mark, and then give you control.
Thanks, Greg. Let's hop right in. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the product itself. You kind of got a sense from the video of the capabilities, and I want to talk to you about the panel itself and how to utilize it in your business, and we'll show some of the hardware and the software. So jumping right in, I always like to show the panel itself. It really changes from an electrical panel to a home appliance. You can see the influence perhaps of past experience at Tesla and other companies in that it's really a beautiful piece of equipment that you're happy to have in your garage, your basement, or even inside your home, as some electrical panels are right inside the houses. If you look on the right, you can see a couple of cool features that we've done here. Many of us have gone in to try to figure out something with our electric panel, and we're there in the basement, there's no lights. We put simple LED lighting in, so when you open the panel, you can see what you're doing. We've made the doors reversible. So depending on where you are in the house or the room, you can decide to make it open on either side. So beyond being a very smart panel, there's a few physical things we've done that really enhance the value prop of the panel itself. This is to walk you through all the specifications. So think of SPAN as a traditional solar ready panel. So we have 225 amp bus bar. It's basically a 200 amp rated panel. You can derate it. You can put it 100 amp or less, or less than 200 as well, and use it for different applications, but it comes standard as 200. As mentioned, we have 32 circuits per panel. So, and you can, do up to 90 amps per, so you can feed sub panels off it or large loads. We do something really cool. We accept standard 1-inch breakers, and we accept them from different manufacturers. We've done testing and we're compatible. There's a section right here on the slide that talks about Square D and Eaton and Siemens and Murray. And what this does for you is gives you a lot of choice. There's certainly been all kinds of supply challenges over the last year. There may be pricing differential. And so the ability to choose the breakers and install what you need on a given job is a big thing that can really help your business have some flexibility, especially in these kind of tight times on breaker supply. As Greg mentioned, it can be indoor or outdoor mounted. It can be surface or flush mounted, and I'll show you some pics of that in a sec. All of the relevant certifications are applied here. UL 67, 916, and 869. So both as a panel, of course, and as a smart energy management system. You would connect to the homeowner's internet via Ethernet or Wi-Fi. So we've got an Ethernet port to plug it in, or Wi-Fi, of course. And we do build in a cellular chip into every single panel, which isn't meant to be the primary internet connection, but it does provide great backup for emergencies or troubleshooting in case the homeowner's internet is down for any sort of reason. Panel comes standard with a 10-year warranty, which sounds kind of typical here in the solar electronics business. But if you buy a typical dump panel off the shelf, you're going to find 90 days or a year. And so we're actually standing behind this product because of all the functionality in a whole different way that comes with the value that it brings. A little more on the design and dimensions over on the left. As mentioned, the door can be on either side. The panel lights up when you open it. The overall sizing for surface mount, 39 by 14 by 6. It's roughly 75 pounds in terms of getting it loaded and managed. Here's a few real world pics. You can see the flush mount here on the left fits right in. We have a nice little trim kit that you can see around the side that helps clean it up. And you can see it's only sticking out 2-3 inches from the profile view. And so it's really nice to, when you have a flush mount opportunity, it fits right in and it becomes a nice part of the wall. A lot of homes go surface mount, and you end up seeing like we see on the right there with a meter combo and again a gateway. And so there we've got the kind of traditional troughs or gutters, as they call them, to run the cabling over to the span. Both are fine, again, indoor or outdoor rated. Another question we get all the time is SPAN a main panel or a sub panel? And the answer is yes, we can do both. We are certified to be the main panel. And here we show some examples on battery backup. But in this example, if the utility meter is often separate, we find this around the Northeast and Southeast and some in the Central, we can become the main panel and truly replace it. So we do really replace that main panel. And then on the other possibilities, if you have a meter combo panel, you can often use SPAN as the sub panel, and you can replace or move the circuits from that main combo panel. If you're upgrading, you can treat the utility combo panel as the meter main entrance. And this shows you some configurations and battery backup. Some interesting things, though, is if you've sold batteries and you're going out there today and offering critical load panels, or you're offering load shedding, this replaces both of those applications, and SPAN becomes that panel. And the benefit is it's going to give you a huge range of choices and flexibility to the homeowner. I'll show in some upcoming slides. And some of the costs that you have to incur anyway, you have to wire up a backup load panel or load shedding device. It then offsets some of the cost of doing SPAN. And then the customer gets so much more, whether it's a main or a sub panel. So in many cases, we're seeing people include these with battery systems as standard, or simply offering them on main panel upgrades whenever those are required as well. It really changes the game from a solar plus storage sale and installer view. You're no longer what we call hardwiring and hoping, where the critical load panel the homeowner wanted that day And it's no longer what they need 6 months later, or a year later. Maybe they got an electric car, maybe they changed some other appliances in the house. With Span, it's completely flexible, and they're able to change whatever they want to be their backed up loads and their non backed up loads. And you also have the ability as a main panel to lock out some loads. So if the grid goes down, you can effectively shed, big loads such as a pool pump, oven or stove, electric, and things like that. So it gives total control to the homeowner to maximize the battery and to have deep insight to all of their appliances. We always like to talk about battery integration, and we are integrated with Tesla and SolarEdge, with SolarEdge's LG battery and with the SolarEdge battery that's out now, the Energy Bank. This market share slide kind of shows, this is the 8 biggest states that own this tracking batteries. And you can see with, Tesla and LG, where we've got the majority of the batteries being sold today. But I also would always mention that we're completely compatible with systems from other manufacturers like Enphase. You absolutely can put our system next to it. You just won't have some of the integration benefit on battery backup. And this kind of gives you a feel for how different it is to use Span as in a storage system. So with Span, you'd have all 32 circuits available to the homeowner. Typically, in a backup load panel workaround situation, you're going to pick anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 circuits. Or in the load shedding situation, you might take out 1, 2, 3, 4 of the biggest loads and just turn those off. And while those are definitely better than doing nothing, backup load panel at least focuses on the circuits you really need, and load shedding at least kind of drops some of the biggest loads. The ability to control all of them is a far superior both experience for the homeowner and result in terms of the battery performance. Another really cool thing about having invested in Span is if the homeowner is home, or not home for that matter, and they want to change what they're backing up in their panel, they have the choice. So, and I always use this example, if the system is installed in January, they might say, I don't really need to back up my air conditioner. We can let that drop. But if the grid goes down in July, they're going to want to turn that on. And I'm going to show you in our software how easy it is to make that change. And so there's no electrician, there's no effort. It's literally a very simple click and drop in our app. And this is a big game changer for the whole way people think about owning a battery backup and storage system and what it can do for them and how much flexibility they'll have. Another feature that Span brings that's really useful, and so many of us have wondered, percentage of battery. We all get it on our phones. They get to 20%, they start warning they're getting low. And the question is always, well, how long is this going to last? And of course, with your home, it's very hard to know. And the answer is actually, it depends. Are you running the air conditioner? Are you charging your electric car? Are you running an electric oven? Things like that. And so really nobody knows what the comparison of state of charge to time is, except we know, because at Span, we are monitoring every single circuit in the house. We know what kind of power they're consuming historically, and we can then predict, given a certain amount of battery life, how long that's going to last. And we also show the homeowner if they turn something on or off, what the impact will be on the battery duration as well. And that's a huge insight because we then translate that to them in days, hours, and minutes. And so the homeowner knows exactly that if they're hot and they turn on their air conditioner, how much longer their battery will last or how much shorter it will last if they decide to run it. And so it gives great control back to the homeowner for this huge investment they've made in a solar plus storage system. Same thing with load shedding. If the grid goes down, we can turn up any circuit in the house we can turn off. And a lot of people will program most to turn off, and then they can always turn them back on when they, when they need them. When you put a backup load panel, you do shed everything in the house except for the ones in the load panel. And if you choose to load shed, you will shed only those big loads and not the rest. And so the difference in performance and duration of the battery is significant, as well as the homeowner's ability to be flexible. And that's what the next point is, that you can really turn loads back on very easily. You can add loads or subtract them, any load in the house. And the other, there are other options to do it. There may be workarounds or ways, but typically with a backup load panel, that's it. Those are going to run and that's it. With load shedding, maybe someone can go out and fumble around with breakers if they know what they're doing. But typically these are hardwired decisions and there's no flexibility for the homeowner after that point. So the ultimate result is we absolutely maximize battery life. Both the other solutions are better than nothing. Backup load panel will certainly last longer, but it's only the loads that have been pre-wired. And the load shedding will reduce some of the burden, but there's no control to turn them back on if you had decided you want the air conditioner. And the net result is we're still much more efficient and effective because we're controlling every single circuit in the home. We decide what is running and what isn't, and then the result on battery life is significant. I also like to mention this slide, we do support standby generators. At this point, we aren't integrated where we know if the grid is down yet, but we do give the homeowner the ability to turn loads on and off in their app. So if there's a power outage and their generator kicks in, they can go in and turn big loads on and off, whether they're home or not. And the result is they will maximize their generator life, and they will minimize the generator fuel consumption cost, which is non-trivial. And especially if it's a serious outage and the generator isn't able to be refilled, the ability to stretch out the life of that's incredibly valuable. Today, a lot of homeowners actually have to go out to their box, flip breakers. They're not sure what circuits are drawing power, how much power. And this really changes the game, especially if it's a severe storm and the homeowner is isolated at home. And maybe they don't even want to go outside or anywhere near the panel due to the weather that's going on, whether hurricanes, winter storms, whatever. And this is with all the major generator brands as well. We always like to show the app. The video at the beginning gave you a nice feel for it. And I'll just kind of talk you through some of these screens here. On the left, we have the top level view of the Watts residence. And it shows you kind of the traditional things you'd expect from our solar and storage apps. Really nice view of how much is coming off the solar system, how much is being exported to the grid, and how much the battery is either charging or discharging at any moment in time. And it shows you the total consumption of the house at that moment. As you switch to the second from the left, you start to get a really good sense of some of the features that we provide. How are you using the energy? And you can look at it for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year. It gives you a great insight as to what things are consuming your energy, how much you're getting from the grid, how much is being self-consumed and self-produced, and really what that's doing in terms of impact. And this app, all these things are available for the homeowner to play with, and it's really easy and intuitive. And they get very excited about these kind of insights as to how their behavior is affecting their energy usage and what they can do to modify it, to reduce their energy consumption, and homeowners love that kind of insight. On the right, we show backup. And in the backup load panel, there's the clip around the idea that you can move circuits back and forth. And I'll show you this on the next slide. And then the last one shows you feed. We provide all kinds of insights. Some of them are just sort of fun things, like it shows solar summary, about half your usage came from your solar system. People like to understand what is all this investment they've made in solar and energy efficiency actually translate to for them. And so this is the final piece that really gives them great insight to what their investment is doing for them and how they can change their behavior to get even more out of it. We talk a lot about battery backup, and the reason is it's such an incredible change to the way batteries are installed and managed. Our industry has been growing very rapidly. Battery adoption's taken off for all kinds of good reasons. In many areas, it's simply for peace of mind due to outages. And that's happening all around the country, from ice storms to hurricanes to grid challenges. All these things are causing people to want to have some control over their power supply and being able to have a battery at their house, so when the next outage comes, they're prepared. And what SPAN does is takes this to the next level. When you install a SPAN at their house, every single circuit will have either a must-have, a nice-to-have, or a non-essential designation. And when the grid goes down, it will then manage that. For example, the must-have, maybe they wanted the bedroom lights on, of course, keep the refrigerator on, and the hallway lights so that they can get around and do the things they need. The electric heater is nice, but when the battery hits 50%, please turn it off. And over on the right, you have some of the non-essential things that we don't need to run and we would want to keep off in order to save power. But the beauty is then you can move them and change your mind. And I think that's the part that's so amazing. And it even shows you, as you can see here, how many minutes you'll gain or lose if you make them non-essential or make them something that is must-have. And the result is that SPAN lasts way longer. So this is an actual study that we did, and we took 90 homes of their actual settings and randomized it and put it all together. And what we saw is when the grid goes down, and there's that moment of truth where it splits, we turn off so many of the circuits that we naturally last much longer, whereas the whole home approach is going to consume all of the, whatever is on is going to be continuing to pull power, whether it's needed or not. In this study that we ran, we got about 40% longer duration. And so the homeowner is going to get so much more value out of that big battery that they're investing in, and it really helps them feel much more confident in their ability for their batteries to support them the next time the grid has an issue. Of course, we've talked a lot about battery, but really perhaps our number one application is strictly when there's a main panel upgrade. So the point is, if you already have to do a main panel upgrade, and solar triggers many of them, as do batteries, you really have two choices. You literally can upgrade it, and on the left we show an old panel, and you could put in a new old panel and rewire it, and it's bigger, and it's, you know, it supports the additional power that's needed. Or you can kind of do it on the right, where you replace an old panel with span. And this is an actual site in someone's house, and of course, it looks way better and it's much more exciting. But the bigger point is that the labor to install this is the same. So if you have to install a new panel, wouldn't you rather spend a little bit more money and get a complete modernized smart panel? So if there's already an MPU in place, it's an easy offer. Hey, have you considered a smart panel? Some salespeople will say things like, how many more times you want to invest in this panel? Or when are you going to get your first electric car? And from a business perspective, if you're offering MPUs, so many in this industry will pass them through. It's sort of a negative experience. It's that thing you have to do to get the solar. And this completely turns that on its head. And now the main panel upgrade is in fact a positive. You know, it's something you're going to make profit on. Your customer is going to be really excited. And so this part that's one of the challenges of our industry starts to become an opportunity. And taking it one step further, a lot of people will sell span only. So maybe they've got a customer who's interested in solar and storage, but isn't quite ready to pull the trigger. But at least they can still sell them a span. It's way better than not selling anything at all. There's all kinds of reasons people are doing this. Some are doing it to buy and fill some time. They've got delays because of battery supply or module supplies. And so if they take a span, you can install that quickly and keep that order. And the homeowner is not going to cancel if they've already got a span panel installed. So it's a very effective way to both excite your customer and retain them, reduce your cancellations. If they really only want the panel, that's fine, because once you've sold them that panel, your foot is in the door. And later on, when they do decide they want to commit to a solar or a battery or an electric car or all of the above, you'll be the leading choice. You're the ones who brought them this amazing panel, and it's all going to run through there. And you're all set up to both market to those customers as well as be able to sell them additional things in the future. Even better, you'll really be able to easily size the system. So if they do decide they want solar, you'll have all the data on their consumption, be able to give them a really good readout on the panels. If they decide they want a battery, same thing, you'll have a very good sense of how much capacity they're going to need. And so not only will you be in the lead position to sell them additional equipment, you'll have really good insight as to what they need and can deliver an amazing customer experience and get more referrals from them. I always like to show this. It's kind of one of the fun things about span, but it is sort of an emotional, important thing. And we've all done this. We've all left the house and we thought we left something on. We weren't sure. You know, the oven, the hair, you know, the curling iron, the space heater, things that could really cause a problem and make you uncomfortable. We've all had that "did I leave it on" moment, that uh-oh. And the amazing thing with span is you actually can figure it out really quick. You literally can go pull up the span app wherever you are. It's all, you know, web connected. And you would look and say, oh, wow, I did leave the kitchen on, the oven on. I'm pulling 1,500 watts. Thank goodness I remembered and I checked, but now I can go right in and literally with the touch of a button, the green turns to red and you've turned it off. So you could be on vacation, you could be on an airplane, and you can literally control the devices in your home to make sure that, you know, not only is nothing wasting electricity, but dangerous things are being turned off. And this kind of peace of mind and emotional connection to span is actually very powerful for a lot of our customers. They may never use it. It's not like buying insurance, but knowing you have it is a really good confidence building feeling. I want to introduce our tech portal. It's brand new. We're got a great portal up now. It's for all of our resources. It's got all of our installer training and videos. It's got great sales documents and resources. Got technical documentation, spec sheets, data sheets, installation manuals. It's got marketing information. We're just launched this a couple of weeks ago. We're really excited about it. It's absolutely, it's built for mobile, and it's great experience for the homeowner. I mean, for the installer, I'm sorry. Homeowner gets the app I was showing you earlier. And the last thing I'd like to wrap up on is there's a lot of sales tools, of course. The video Greg showed you right at the beginning is right here at the top. And it gives you a great oversight. And these are things you show the homeowner. We try to do the selling for you. You don't have to be an expert on span. You don't have to know everything about it. We try to give you all the tools, whether it's the app, the videos, and the references so that you can just give the homeowner this information and let them come to their own conclusion. So the app that we've been showing, you can actually download it. It's our simulated span home, the Watts residence there. You pull it down on your iPhone or Android. There's no login even required, and you can go in and play with that simulated home and see all the functionality Span brings. People like to know that other people are doing this kind of thing. We've got great influencer videos and technology advocates. A couple of them are listed here. Matt Farrell and Ben Sullins are very technical guys who get really into the weeds for that kind of customer who wants to know every detail. For the cool factor, Kai Lenny makes a big wave surfing video and shows how he uses Span in his career and life. So there's all kinds of things depending on your customer that we provide to help you sell. We've got a great leave behind flyer as well. You can download and print it. You can show them online. So there's a lot of tools we have provided to help you successfully sell Span and reap all the benefits of having offered this to your customers. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and turn it back over to Greg.
Great. Thanks, Mark. One moment while I pull it up. Okay. I think everyone can see this.
Yep, looks good.
Awesome. Just going to tell you a little bit about the products that we have coming down the pike. We're really excited that this month we'll actually be launching the first sales as well as installation of the Span Drive EV charger. So our Span Drive EV charger is a companion actually to our panel. And the great thing about it is that it's one of the only EV chargers out on the market that has full visibility into the home's energy consumption, can actually use that intelligence to modulate based on the energy consumption at that particular moment to either give max charge when it's available or not. And you can avoid a service upgrade doing that. So the EV revolution, it's here. I think when I look at the market, we were unsure for a while if EVs were going to be that new technology, if it would be fuel cell, or if regular gasoline cars would just improve in efficiency and kind of continue to be king of that industry. But no more. The future is decided and it's starting to ramp up quickly. Every auto original equipment manufacturer is rolling out all of their EVs over the next decade, and many have even announced they're going to be discontinuing the internal combustion engine within their lineup, right? So we're starting to see that from Ford with the F-150 Lightning having a really amazing introduction into the market, and Ford starting to scale up around their production. We're seeing that from Volkswagen with the ID.4. I think just this week they announced that their Tennessee plant would be scaling up to 7,000 units per month, and even more so. The Ford Mach-E has gotten really great and rave reviews, and they're scaling up, right? So we're seeing that from all the major autos, GM, VW, as well as the startups like Rivian and Lucid, and Tesla is continuing to sell, right? So that is one of the biggest decisions customers will be making when it comes to electrification, but they don't really know that they're actually moving towards electrification. They're just buying it because it's more fun to drive. It looks cool and it has a cheaper total cost of ownership. So we're preparing the home for this EV revolution. So introducing the Span Drive. It can charge your home during a power outage when paired with a battery. It can charge your home actually using the sunshine. So straight from the solar system into the vehicle. Not only is this novel because people want to charge and use clean energy for their vehicle, but also if you think about energy arbitrage and when it comes to net energy metering rates, where sometimes it's actually more favorable to use it versus selling it back to the grid, we've made that possible because we have the intelligence looking into the solar system from power generation as well as consumption. We can traffic that into the vehicle. So it really does some unique things here that weren't previously available on the market, like those features, as well as that whole modulating. It operates in the background. So the customer doesn't have to go in and change it within the app setting from 48 amps to lower. They can get the full 48 amp, 11.5 kW into their vehicle. So that's actually the fastest universal charge rate out on the market. There are a few others that are there, but there are also a few other EV chargers on the market that are less than that are at 40 amps and 32 amps. So this gives you that full level 2+ charging that's really fast when you need it in a hurry. So talking about the intelligence, you can kind of see that there are different settings that the homeowner has available to them. They can charge dynamically, which is basically charging as soon as possible, getting the maximum power available to their car. They can charge it by schedule. Think about, in places where time of use rates are more favorable in the evening, and the homeowner really wants to take advantage of that and save on costs. Or like I was talking about, the one feature, we have that one rolling out soon where it's charging on sunshine. So there's all these intelligence capabilities built in where it's actually leveraging the compute power of the panel to be able to function and give that homeowner full control over their electric vehicle. Great. And with that said, that'll be coming later on this month. Our Gen 2 panel, so the span panel, is available for sale right now. Like I said, we've been, we're active in over 40 states with all homeowner installations available in all 50, and looking to continue to scale that up. The Span EV charger, or Span Drive EV charger, will be available later this month, and similarly available in all 50 states, available through BayWa. And we're really excited to get that into your hands as well as into your customers' homes, so they can get a better charging experience and a better energy management experience with Span. Aaron, with that said, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Greg and Mark. That was a fantastic presentation. We're really excited about bringing Span online. And, folks who are BayWa customers right now can go ahead and log on to our web store in order to see Span pricing and availability. We have a little screenshot here showing that we have availability in all 5 of our major regions. And we can also see that there's an extra accessory available. So I'll make that the first question to Mark and Greg. Can you tell us a little bit about when folks would need the flush mount kit accessory that we also have listed in the web store?
Sure, you bet. I can take that. And so flush mount is when you go and flush mount and you're mounting inside a wall. The beauty of the kit is it saves you all the work of trying to make it perfect. So if you're cutting into drywall or even worse, stucco, it's pretty hard to get a nice clean cut, and it can leave a lot of extra work that's kind of annoying just to clean it up and make it look pretty. And we eliminate all that. So the flush mount kit essentially is just a frame that sits over the panel and covers up all that roughage around the edges and makes everything look nice and clean. If you remember the picture I showed of the flush mount system there earlier on, it gave you a really nice example of that. And you can find those on our website as well. It's not needed. It's only for flush mount, but it's very handy when you need it.
Yeah, and it makes the system look great, right? If you really want your installation to look top notch, it's nice to have it flush mounted and with that frame on it. So it's a good option for any customers that are more aesthetically driven, I guess. I don't know how you want to say that.
Professional and clean, looks great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fantastic. So folks, go ahead and throw any questions that you may have in the question and answer section. I'll go ahead and start running through the ones that have come in so far, and any new ones that pop up, we'll be sure to jump to those as well. So one of the first questions that we have on here was, can you say a little bit more about, there's a few questions that are just asking about compatibility. So it's some
Sure.
version of what happens when the Span panel is not integrated with another solution on site. Say if someone's using like a Generac power cell in one of the questions, is a specific example. If the panel can't integrate with that system, what does operation look like, and what does the value proposition look like?
Sure, great question. And I see it both for the Generac power cell and generators. So we are not integrated to the Generac or generators in general, but we are compatible. So what that means is you can put us side by side. What you don't get from interoperability is that when the grid goes down, we automatically shut down the loads like we showed you. But you can certainly do that manually. So if you've ever been through a bad storm and relying on a generator, this idea of how much power you're using and what circuits to turn on and off to maximize whether your battery or the gas or whatever's in the generator, we give a huge amount of improvement of that experience, along with all the insights around power usage throughout the year, of course. So a lot of people do use us just side by side because it's a significant improvement from what they had before. So you'll find that a lot. Really, there's all kinds of new battery products coming out on the market. As I mentioned, you saw on the generator slide, we listed probably half a dozen or more names. So you can use us as an electric panel with pretty much anything out there, and we'll be compatible because we're neutral. The advantage of Tesla and SolarEdge and LG today is the integration gives you that automatic functionality when the grid goes down. And that's an additional value prop on the top. The ability to manage those loads so cleanly and automatically is the big adder for when we're integrated versus just compatible. But we work well in both situations.
Absolutely. And there is a specific question here. Where does the generator interconnection terminate? Into an ATS upstream of the span panel or in a CV in the span? Is it a 2-wire relay signal to the generator? How does that work?
Sure. The short answer to this is you always need a transfer switch with the generator, and we're neutral to that. And then the bigger answer is, please connect with us. We'd be happy to, have your BayWa rep introduce the span rep, and we'll definitely be glad to talk you through the technology. We can get you signed up on that tech portal I showed you, and it actually gives you the diagrams and all the information you need when placing span next to a generator. But we're pretty much independent of each other, and it's very clean. But it does have to be a transfer switch. It can't be any old home generator. You don't terminate the generator inside span. You still need that transfer switch for sure.
Right, to protect either device. Yeah. Okay, and then there's a request for the compatibility list for the span panel. Is that a link that can be shared in the chat here? We can also make sure it's attached to the show notes when we post this video for folks.
Sure, it's in the slide deck and it's in all our docs. So as soon as you engage with span and we get your password to our tech portal, it's all there. Some of the stuff is unprotected as well, and you can find the data sheet list, the breaker compatibility. So more than happy to get that info out. It's in the slides. And then of course, once again, connect with us, your local span sales manager, wherever you are. We've got coverage across the whole US. And in partnership with BayWa, we're more than happy to get you all the answers to your questions.
Great. Yeah. Reach out to us anytime you do come across those questions. And our team is just, very excited to make sure that you're connected with the span team and getting answers to anything that's popping up. So next couple of questions look like they have to do in one way or another with EV charging. And there's some iteration of like, why did you choose to focus on EV charging next? Or does the span car charger work with the Ford pickup, the Ford F-150, which has that bi-directional capability that they've advertised? I think you mentioned a little bit about some of that feature set, but with that option in particular, is there bi-directional functionality? What does it look like?
Yeah, I can speak to that. Actually, before joining before joining Span, I was at Sunrun actually working on that partnership. So our EV charger, it has universal compatibility with any EV, including Tesla. It's the J1772 connector, but then you can add a Tesla adapter to even work on Tesla. So it'll charge any electric vehicle that you have. It is not bidirectional, so it only does power it. To do the bidirectional home battery backup with Ford, you need the hardware that's required for that. You need that specific charger, et cetera. Ours will not do that. That said, why did we choose to get into EVs? There's a huge, tremendous amount of growth kind of coming into the market with all the electric vehicles coming online. We're seeing that from customer adoption. Every year, the projections for EVs on the road by 2030 continue to go up. So it just made sense for us because we do have that full visibility into the energy generation as well as consumption in the home. And that EV is going to be a tremendous load based on all the homes kind of going forward. And we're excited to continue to expand our product portfolio around that. It's a lot of things are coming down the pike. There's a lot of innovation happening within our four walls. And I think that if you stay tuned on what we have coming next, you'll be excited to see how we're going to continue to integrate with EVs and kind of push that feature and capability forward with what Span can do.
Yeah, when you think about the change in demand profiles and other aspects of what having a mass adoption of EVs is going to mean for our electrical infrastructure, it presents some challenges, and folks being able to support their own charging through their own solar resources or generators is definitely going to be an advantage.
Yeah, and real quick to piggyback up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're in EVs for two good reasons. One is EVs trigger main panel upgrades, so it's the natural time.
Mhm.
And then conversely, on the other side, the ability to manage it, you can do a lot of really neat things with span, panel, and our charger to avoid main panel upgrades. So it was a natural point for us to expand because it intersects both the macro trend Greg was describing of the huge adoption and rollout of EVs, but also the very pragmatic issue. Homeowner needs an electric car charger. They now have to upgrade their panel. That's a great opportunity to offer them span.
Yeah, absolutely. There are tens of millions of homeowners with 100 amp service or less than 200 amp service, and they're going to want fast charging, and we can offer that in a really elegant, seamless, integrated solution.
There's a question, one more about the EV solution, sorry, and then there are a few more about the panel itself. So, does span drive need to be installed near the panel? And I'm going to also interpret that to mean, does it have to be installed with the panel? So will span drive work if connected independently to just any old breaker, or does it need to be installed with the span panel?
So I can talk to that. The span drive is only compatible with our panel. So our EV charger only works with our panel. Any third-party charger, as Greg mentioned, will work just fine with our panel. And you can still do a lot of really neat things. But when you add our charger to our panel, there's some additional features like we showed here that kind of go above and beyond what you can do with a standard car charger. And we can still do a lot with a standard car charger as well. And then the second one, I think, is distance. And essentially, you can go a good distance because the charging cable comes off our charger. So you just need to make sure your cable is sized properly, the conductor gauge, to run at farther distances. If you're going, say, across the house from the garage to where the panel is. So yeah, you can run. I want to say 300 feet, but check our specs on that to give you the exact distance when we release it.
Okay. Yeah, and we will have that available on our web store fairly soon. We've got our first orders in, so look out for that. So now we have just a few more minutes and a couple more questions about the panel itself. One of the questions is, how does the span panel know when the grid goes down?
So we actually don't. So that's where we look to the battery. That's what the interoperability and integration is. So if we're paired up with a Tesla Powerwall, if we're paired up with SolarEdge and an LG or a SolarEdge battery, there's actually an Ethernet cable between us, and they tell us. They say, "Oh, grid's down." We say, "Thanks for letting us know," and we go switch into backup mode where we turn all of the circuits off automatically. And they're also telling us the state of charge of their battery, so we can turn that percentage of battery into days, hours, and minutes. So there is a physical connection between them. It's very simple to configure. It's all, again, part of our installation training and processes.
And maybe a bit of a follow-up to that is span capable of load control during on-peak periods to limit demand charges? Did mention a little bit about this, but reiterate.
It's a great question. The platform is built to do that. So it is, but today we don't have all the software and scheduling, but the ability to potentially turn things off, avoid demand charges, is something we're constantly working on. There's a lot of interest from utilities in this, a lot of interest from solar installers to avoid these. We can do some of this already with the EV charger, for example. You will be able to schedule, so you can help avoid some demand charges that way, but there is definitely the ability to do more sophisticated things. So again, stay tuned as we improve our software. It's all on the same panel. There'll be software around the local specifics, because demand charges vary very much by utility, and you actually have to come up with custom implementations for each.
Yeah, it's fairly complex to implement something that would be applicable to different markets across the nation. So it's a big project. And one of the things that's fantastic about having the span panel able to be connected to the internet, just like we saw when inverters were first able to be connected to the internet, software features did have dramatic impacts on the product functionality over time, right? So we can expect to see the span panel's software features change the way that folks are able to use the product over time, which is a very exciting prospect. So a couple more questions have come in here. Let's see. This one is, let's say you had load calcs coming in over 200 amps. Would we use the panel to avoid going to a 400 amp service by controlling loads? So they're basically asking, could you overload a 200 amp panel, assuming that you'd be able to load control your way out of that scenario. There are probably some concerns that your inspector would have with that. What do you guys think?
Well, the great news is yes, we are certified. I mentioned the UL listing as an energy management system, and you can oversubscribe the panel and we can turn things off. And the example I like to use, if you got two electric cars and they both wanted to be fast charging at 60 amps, and it's Tuesday night at 1 a.m, you can probably on a 200 amp panel deliver 60 amps, 48 to each car all day long. And no problem, even though you're taking up 120 amps of the 200 amp breaker. If it's a Saturday afternoon and you've got a raging party going, the pool's on and the air conditioning's on, and the ovens are on, and all the lights are on, and everything's on, and both cars are trying to charge, and you were going to exceed the ruling around the 20% rule on the capacity of that 200 amp panel, the great news is SPAN will see that and actually turn off those loads. So if it was a third-party car charger, we might turn off the car. If it was our EV charger, we can actually step it down. All right, we can't give you 60 amps right now, but I can give you 40 or I can give you 20. So there's some really nice things we can do, but the ability to avoid a main service upgrade is a huge benefit. As you know, if you have utilities that are busy and backed up, or there's huge costs involved, or you just want to get the job installed and turn more quickly. So SPAN definitely offers that. We have a lot of information about that, including a white paper. Again, get in touch with your BayWa rep and they can connect you with your local SPAN rep, and we'd be happy to talk you through how all of that works. But it is a really neat feature with the panel and really critical for electrification and the adoption of EVs, as Greg was mentioning. To not be forced to upgrade your panel to add capacity is a really big benefit.
Fantastic. So I think we've got time for one more, and that's all we have. So let's see here. A BayWa account was mentioned as needed to purchase a SPAN drive. Is this the case also? If so, what does the process to get that account open look like? For anyone who isn't already signed up as a BayWa customer, you can just head to our website, and next to the login button, there's a register button. Go ahead and click that register button, and there's a form there that you can fill out to create an account with us. Somebody from our account management team will be reaching out to you shortly after you submit the form to help you get your account set up, credit established. BayWa only sells to established solar installation businesses. So we don't sell direct to homeowners if that's where this question is coming from. You'd need to work with a local solar installer to have them procure the equipment and install it for you. So reach out via that registration link if you don't have an account and you want to get one going, and we'll be happy to help you out that way. And I believe that is all the time we have left for today. I thank everyone for their participation, especially you, Mark and Greg. Appreciate all of the fantastic information. And thanks everyone else for joining us for this webinar. If you liked what you learned and want to be a part of the BayWa Solar family, go ahead and click the link in the chat to learn more about us and sign up to be a customer. I'm Aaron Bingham, and I'd also like to once again thank Mark and Greg from SPAN for providing us with this great information, and thank everyone else for joining us. So have a great rest of your week, and don't forget to register for some of our upcoming webinars to learn more great info about our manufacturing partners.
Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks.
Thanks all.
Take care all.